Go ahead, Salma ma'am.
Hello everyone. I, Kriti Vishesh Jaiswal, working at Navrashna University. I welcome you all to the third webinar organized by School of Engineering and Technology, Navrashna University, jointly with Thomas J. Watson College of Engineering and Applied Science, Binghamton University, State University of New York, USA. It is my privilege to invite Dr. Nilay Yajnik, Provost, Navrashna University, to shed some more light on today's event.
Thank you, Kriti. And on behalf of Navrachna University, I wish to thank all the participants who have joined us today. And my special thanks goes to Professor Michael Testani of Binghamton, who is also watching live and participating live from the United States right now. Thanks once again for our continued collaboration. We will have several such programs in the weeks and the months ahead. And I thank the Thomas J. Watson School of Engineering at Binghamton, Dean Srihari, and all colleagues there for their consistent support. Today, we have a very interesting program by Dr. Salma. Dr. Salma is a faculty in mathematics and data science at Navrachna University. So we will hear her perspective on the session today, machine learning and such areas. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your inspiring thoughts on the program. Now, I would like to request Mr. Michael V. Testani, Director of Industrial Outreach, Binghamton University, to enlighten us on more about this collaboration. Over to you, sir.
Thank you so much, Professor Kriti, Provost Nilay, Dr. Amarish, Dr. Dinesh. Thank you so much for having me here today. Delighted to be a part of this series. And as the Provost rightly said, this is just one of many of our collaborations to come. So, we're very excited about this. I was mentioning to the Provost earlier how impressed I am with NUV. I really like your values and your holistic approach to learning. So thank you for having me. Welcome. Thank you for being at the webinar. Just briefly, on the Watson College at Binghamton University, we're dedicated to quality higher education. And we have a very strong international perspective, which I'm grateful for because that's what brings us all together today. So I'm delighted to be here with you. I'm delighted that we have this collaboration going on. We have a seven-part webinar series that we'll be conducting. Thanks to the efforts of the folks you see here, certainly the Provost on behalf of Dean Srihari and all of Binghamton University. I'm honored to be here. I'm delighted to be working with Dr. Amarish and of course, Professor Kriti and Professor Dinesh. We wouldn't be here today if it weren't for their efforts. And of course, I'm delighted to listen to today's speaker as well. Dr. Salma has a very interesting talk. It looks like we have some interest from our own students. And they're asking me for the recording because you may not know this, but our students like to sleep in the morning. So if they're not in class at 8 in the morning, they're sleeping. So they're asking me for the recording. But we do have strong interest, right, on both sides for all these topics, right? These are new, emerging, and I'll say disruptive technologies, and that they'll change our lives forever. So yeah, I'm glad we could collaborate on this effort. So thank you so much for having me. And I look forward to hearing Dr. Salma's talk today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Testani, for sharing this information. So today is the third webinar of this NUV-BU collaboration webinar series. The webinar is titled Training of Linear and Non-Linear Models in Machine Learning, presented by Dr. Ume Salma Amperzada. Dr. Salma earned her PhD degree in Applied Mathematics from the Maharaja Sayoji Rao University of Baroda, India. She was a postdoctoral fellow of National Board for Higher Mathematics, Department of Atomic Energy, Government of India in the year of 2014 to 2016. She is currently an assistant professor of mathematics in the School of Engineering and Technology, Navrachna University, India. She is a program chair of BSc Data Science program offered in the university. Her research interest areas are fuzzy optimization, optimal control problems, fuzzy mathematics, soft computing techniques, and its application. She liked to explore mathematical as well as computational aspects and applications of artificial intelligence based algorithms. So as we all know that training is an aim of machine learning algorithms. There are several algorithms developed to train linear and nonlinear models. For example, the logic functions OR and AND are considered as linear models. They can be trained using logistic regression algorithm. So the purpose of the talk to analyze these basic case studies to explain the training of linear and nonlinear models using machine learning algorithms, logistic regression, and artificial neural networks. So without any delay, now I would like to invite Dr. Salma ma'am to take us on the journey of machine learning.
Thank you so much, Kriti, for nice introduction. So first of all, I would like to thank Professor Michael Testani, sir, and Professor Nilay Yajnik, and also our Dean, Professor Amrish Badgujar, sir, for this collaboration and this joint event series. And also I am thankful to give opportunity to speak here. So without delay, I am just sharing my screen, my today's presentation. Okay, so I hope you can hear me clearly and you can see the screen also.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Okay, so welcome to all participants. So my topic is about training of linear and nonlinear models in machine learning. So it looks something mathematical, and it is some mathematical only, but it is very elementary and quite interesting also, because I have prepared and I have tried to made this presentation a very basic level. So let us proceed. Yeah, so this is the first abstract of the talk. So my talk is about study of elementary case studies, like everyone know this OR function, add function, and XOR. This type of function are the logic function which appear in computer science as well as mathematics, in electrical engineering, and many such problems. So these problems are very interesting and as well as very easy to study. So today we'll see the training of these problems, like how the effect of the linearity and non-linearity on some machine learning algorithms. So here basically I am discussing two algorithms, like logistic regression and artificial neural network, but still if you feel the names are like very big in the sense that too mathematical, but still I will try to explain in very elementary and brief way, so that you will understand each and every topic. Okay, so the content of the talk is the machine learning. First I will briefly talk about machine learning, what is that. Logistic regression, because I am going to talk about two algorithms, like one is a logistic regression, another is artificial neural networks, because these two are nowadays very famous algorithms for classification problem, mainly for classification problems. And yeah, the we'll discuss about linearly and non-linearly separable patterns. So they are actually the linear and non-linear models, right? And then training of these models using logistic regression and ANN, and at the end we'll conclude. So the first thing is about not what machine learning, but why machine learning. Because when we want to study something, so we should have some proper motivation that why we should study this topic. So that's why I have kept this first slide is why machine learning. Like if you see, if you see the real world, everywhere there is a data, everywhere there is a information about each system. So if I consider any like social media system or a healthcare system or even education system, day to every day we generate some data and we gather some data. So this data is actually a very meaningful information about the system. But what is our task, that how to process this data and how to make some decision, and this decision which help us to improve the system. Like if suppose I consider a healthcare system, so our goal is to how to have some proper vaccines or medicines or some improvement, some research in the healthcare system, and this can be done with the help of some data analysis. Okay, some information, okay, information about the patients and all this. Like in this pandemic situation, if we collect the data about the number of cases and number of infected people, and like lot of data generated in this last year, after the last year, and now our aim is to process this data, and after processing, if we can make some important decision, and that help us to society, they'll help us to our system. And also machine learning is a part of artificial intelligence. So what is artificial intelligence? So like in the today's technological world, we aim that our whole system should work automatically, should work efficiently, should be more accurate, right? And having uh, cost effective, like so many things we are planning for the in new technological world, and they are actually the artificial intelligence, and machine learning is a crucial part of the artificial intelligence. So therefore there are many reasons to study, and we should know about the machine learning. And what is machine learning? So this is the second thing. So machine learning is a process by which the system improve its performance. So basically what we do in machine learning, that we train our system, or we learn the system uh, by the information that given to us, right? Or information that we collected or we have gathered. So this process of learning our system, or the process of improving the performance of the system, that is the machine learning in very simple words. And like I have started with why machine learning, but there are actually, here I have mentioned some few of application. So these are very famous application of machine learning, that in today's world people are using these techniques for not only this task, but those I have mentioned here in the slide, but there are many application, and all the real life applications are you can see, which is based on and which can be handled very nicely using machine learning. So one of here I have written spam filtering. So when we get the email, so many times the email is not relevant, so it can be considered as a spam, and it should go in the spam folder, not in the main inbox. So how to classify those spam emails and the unspam emails? So that can be done with the help of machine learning. And the similar application I have here shown. So one of the good application is a search engine. So like every day we search something on Google, right? And it gives the result in fractional of seconds. But what is happening behind the machine? What is happening in Google? So that we have not noticed, we have not observed. But these are the application of machine learning. So therefore it's very important topic in today's scenario to learn about the machine learning. So basically the machine learning has two types, sorry, three types: supervised learning, unsupervised, and reinforcement learning. So supervised learning means when we have the information, that is in terms of data, and the in which the target is available, like what you have to achieve, it's clearly mentioned, then it is a supervised learning. Otherwise, it is unsupervised learning. So here I am basically just focusing on supervised learning. So like what I have mentioned, that in which desired output is available with us. So with the given data, if the desired output is available, it is called supervised learning. And in supervised learning also there are two problems mainly. One is a regression and another is a classification. So regression means that we have to forecast something. Like suppose we have to forecast the stock prediction problem, or we have to forecast the weather or the rainfall. So these problems can be considered as a regression problem. And classification is like spam filtering is one of the very good example of classification. And there are many examples we can think as a classification problem. So therefore supervised learning is also very important part of learning in machine learning. And again, the classification algorithms. So here I have mentioned only two algorithms, but there are several algorithms are developed to solve the classification problems. But here, because I'm going to discuss these two problems, because we have only 1 hour to discuss, and few things I would like to emphasize more. So I have considered this two algorithm in my discussion, so that I have some comparative study also. So let us see. So first is about the logistic regression. I just briefly tell you about what is the logistic regression. So this is a machine learning algorithm for mainly for classification. And the procedure is, you will see some mathematics arise, but don't scared with math, it's very easy. So we have some features, you know that if we have the data, we have a features, like, so those feature I can designate as a variable x, and with the help of x I can have a model. So this is a mathematical expression, you can see that. And it's a very simple expression that I have some parameters theta 0 and theta 1 up to, and this theta is multiplied by the each feature, and this feature is arise from the real data, right? So if we have the real information, and if we have the columns of the information, so that data I am multiplying by each this parameter and the sum of it. So you can see the addition and multiplication make this mathematical model. And after making this z mathematical expression, which is called linear expression, we apply this to a non-linear function that is called sigmoid function, or it is also called logistic function. So when we apply this logistic function is also look a very mathematical, right? 1 upon 1 plus e raised to minus z, and the graph of the function look like this. So here on the x-axis we provide like we have a z values, and on the y-axis we have a sigma values, and the sigma values lies between 0 and 1. So when I have a negative z value, it approaching to 0. If I have positive z value, it approaches to 1. So therefore this output is approaching to 0 and 1, so that we can calculate the probability. So the basic idea of the logistic regression is to calculate probability of the achieving the target 1, that is our one classifier. So when I have target 1, it means it is a one class, and when I have target 0, it means it is a some other class. And suppose this is an example of binary classification, so I have a two class, and you can see the probability of sum of this probability must be 1. So I just explain you this probability can be calculated with the help of this sigmoid function or the logistic function. So this is the basic idea of the logistic regression. You have to create a model Z, which is a linear model, and apply the logistic function to calculate the probability, and that probability give you the what is the chance of your data classify as a class 1, and 1 minus sigma z will be the probability of your feature belong to the other class. So that is the main idea. So now the training, what is training in logistic regression? So if we study any supervised learning algorithm or so in which training means mathematically, training means we have to find the best values of theta, or you can say best values of our parameters. So in the training, our aim is to find best values of these parameters. So that gives me the best model or the best fitted model. Okay, so this is thing. And to find the best values of theta, we have to define a loss function. But don't scare with this. The expression is mathematical, but it's very simple actually. But I'm not going deep in this maths. Okay, and like I said, our aim is to find the best theta. So best means what? It is an optimization process, and therefore we use one of the very famous optimization problem. It is called gradient descent method, and the idea of this method is also very simple. The new value of your theta, new value of your parameter can be obtained with the old value of parameter plus something we have to add in this, and that is nothing but partial derivatives. So again, partial derivative is a maths, so you need to learn some maths to do machine learning. And yeah, this is a learning rate, so that decide that how much fast you have to learn your data, right? So this is like briefly about the gradient descent method. Okay, so now I just start with artificial neural network because like whatever information I wanted to give about the logistic regression, I think it is enough. So now we can start this another machine learning algorithm, which is a very powerful method, very powerful algorithm, and it is actually applicable for many techniques, for supervised learning, for unsupervised learning also. But here we'll discuss its application in supervised learning. So yeah, before starting, so what first the slide is to what is the neural network, right? So actually, the machine learning algorithm is an artificial neural network. But before going to the artificial neural network, we should know what is neural network. So the neural network in a person's brain is a hugely interconnected network of neurons. So our brain is a the basic unit is a neuron, and like so many neurons are connected to each other in our brain, and it works very nicely, very efficiently. And one neuron has so many other neurons are connected, and they are passing information so fast. Like I'm speaking here in front of you, I'm discussing with you, so my neurons are working in my brain. Yeah, so this is a like God has given so many uh, like you can say great system to us. And what researcher tried, so what researcher tried to make such kind of artificial system, right? And this is a one figure of the real neuron unit. So there are some concept, you can see some part of like axon dentries. So this dentries is actually you can see connection, this, and this circle is, I can say, it is a neuron, and some dentries are there, so they are the information. Synapse is a point at which you can see it work as a threshold. And so threshold means what? If it's if I on the threshold, if it active, then information passes, otherwise not. So this is like briefly about the brain. But what researcher tried to develop the artificial system that works like our neuron. But it's not possible because our system is a very great system, the human brain system. But researchers have tried this and they have made a very simplified form of the neuron. You can see this is a one neuron, one artificial neuron, and these are some input nodes. They are not neuron. In artificial neural network, we don't consider our input as a neuron because, okay, this is very elementary but important thing you should notice, that input there is no computation happens. In our brain, everything is neuron because every neuron there is some computation. But in artificial neural network, if you see, this are the input nodes in which there is no computation, just it gives the input. So therefore we consider as a nodes only, not neuron. But here the real computation happened. So this network is called one neuron system. So this is a one neuron, and you see between input and output some computation happens, and this computation is actually very important, and it create a artificial neural network system. So we'll see. Okay, so the component of ANN. So I just briefly tell you what are the components of ANN. So like here you can see in this figure, like we have three input, and this is a junction. Okay, so here is this junction, this three outputs, three input meets, and it is called summing junction. And the summing junction, you can see it is again a linear mathematical function. So like mathematics arise here, and you can see it is a very simple affine function, that you have sum of this x1 into w1. So here w1 is very important. It is a strength. It is a strength of the connection. Okay, so w1 is here, w2 is here, w3 is here, and plus we are inputting some more parameter that is called bias, and this extra parameter will give the your network more powerful, and we call this variable as net. And after this summing junction, to get the output, we apply this net to some other function, other mathematical function, that is called activation function. And activation function is nothing but a logistic function also, or it is also called sigmoid function. And you can see the expression is same mathematical expression. The graph is also same between 0 and 1, right? So this is the basic about one neuron computation. So now, yeah, here I have one another figure. So I'm just keeping this slide. Yeah. So what is different in logistic regression and in artificial neural network? So in logistic regression, we have a linear model and we apply a nonlinear function. In artificial neural network, we have a linear function, that this junction, and we apply the activation function to get the nonlinear output. But here we have a layers. So this makes a artificial neural network very much different and very much important, very much applicable, because we have a several input here in this layer. So this line is called a layer, and more specifically it is called input layer. Okay, this line we can see several circles, so they are actually neuron, and this layer is, you can see between input and output, so it is called hidden layer. So this is a hidden layer. So if I have a hidden layers, and some neurons here, so each input is connected to each neuron, so you can see this make a some complicated system. But still if you see this, here I have 3 units, here I have 4 neurons, here I have two neurons, but still the system look like somewhat complicated. So you may visualize the situation of our brain. So like it's a hugely interconnected system of neurons. So this is a like only one layer system, one layer network. One layer means one hidden layer, sorry. But this network is called two-layer network. Two-layer means one output layer, this we call as a layer, and another layer is a hidden layer. But we don't count input as a layer because I explained again earlier also there is no computation happened in this layer. So we don't count this as a layer. Okay. Now training in artificial neural network is the same, like same in the sense here you can see that in the neural network we have this function, this junction z is a linear function. Here b plus the input is multiplied by weight. So the aim of or the training in artificial neural network means again we have to find our best parameters, best values of the weight. That is the training. So best values in the weight that we can determine during the training, and that is actually a mathematical, mathematical definition of training. So training means what? We have to learn our data, we have to process our data in such a way that it gives me the best output, it gives me the desired output. So that is a training, but mathematically training means we have to find the best values of the connection or the weights. So now like this much only about the artificial neural network. So I just came here the slide with yeah, linear and nonlinear model, because my the topic of the this talk is about what linear training of linear and nonlinear models. So when we collect the data, when we have the data and this data in is on hand, so first thing, you don't have to just apply the any machine learning algorithm either by logistic regression or by artificial neural network or any other algorithm. It's very important to understand and observe the behavior of the data. So like here I'm discussing only two behaviors, like linearly separable and data can be non-linearly separable. So what do you mean by linearly separable? So if our data or the data patterns can be separated by the plane or line or a hyperplane. So if we go beyond the three dimension, we have a hyperplane. So if we able to separate our original data by the plane or a linear line, that is called linearly separable data, and that makes a linear model. And this linear model affects on the training. So that's why I have like consider this included this slide, or you can say my main aim of the topic is this only, that you should observe first thing, your data is linearly separable or non-linearly. Non-linear means if you can classify your data or you can separate your data with some non-linear curve, not by a straight line. So that is the non-linearly separable, and this make a huge difference on the training. So let us first see examples of linearly separable models and non-linearly also. So you can see I have considered mathematical example. So why I have considered these two mathematical example, because these are not too mathematical. They are actually these logic functions are a very famous, very important function. You know that it occurs in computer science application, logic gates, in electrical engineering, also in mathematics, discrete mathematics, in data science, like so. And they are very they have very interesting features also. So whenever we have to learn like what is linearly separable model, it's these are the best, I think, example, best illustration that we can easily see the linearly separable model and non-linearly separable model with these examples. So that's why I have considered. So you can see here I have two input patterns, and this input pattern has output 0 0. So this 0 indicate actually false, and this 0 indicate false. So if both are false, the output is false, and if one of them is true, the output is false. And yeah, if both are true, output is true. So this output make this function as a AND function, and if one of them is true, And sorry, I did here one mistake actually. If both are 1, the output must be 1. And if both are 0, means both are false, the output must be false. So that makes the OR function. So this is actually a NOR function. Okay, so you can see this figure illustrate the linearly separable data. So here you can see that the first figure is about my AND logic function, and you can see that if both the output is 0, the output is both the inputs are 0, output is 0. So that I have mentioned by this hollow circle, and this is also output are 0. So you can see this three output having create a one class, and this output is different. So you can see I can easily classify, or I can easily separate this two output with a linear line. So you know this data is called linearly separable data. And in machine learning, this concept is very crucial, very important. So before you apply any machine learning algorithm, you should first draw the scatter diagram, and you should first check the behavior, and you should first check it is linearly separable or not. So this is also like OR function is also linearly separable, but on a one logic function that is called XOR, and it is also called exclusive OR. So exclusive OR means if one of the output is one of the input is true, the output is true, otherwise it is false. So this data, for this data you can see there are only four patterns are there, four data are there, but we cannot draw a linear line to separate this output, right? So it's not possible to find any linear line. And you can see this is like four data example, and this is very nice example which illustrate the non-linear separable data. So this is a non-linear. So the further I will discuss in the training part. So like when you have to design a machine learning system, you have to follow these steps. So therefore I have included this slide also. Like first of all you have to choose your training data, and apart from test data, so test data is not included in the training, and you have to see what exactly you have to learn, that is uh, known in prior, right? And again you have to choose the some appropriate activation function and training algorithm. So all these things are you have to do step by steps, and you have to they are very crucial in machine learning. So that's why I have mentioned this is a general thing, right? So now I'm just discussing about the training of linearly separable data using logistic regression. So here I have just okay, you will not understand the Python code. I tried this Python code before some days. So in this code, I tried to implement the OR logic function. You know the data of this OR function, this data, and so I have tried by built-in function that available in Python library. So the logistic regression is available function, and you can see it's a very simple steps I have to follow to implement logistic regression algorithm, training of this machine learning algorithm for our data. So there is nothing big thing in this, but let us see the results. So the result you can see here, this I have plotted the actual output. You can see. So in OR function we have three ones. So that is denoted by circle, and one output is a 0 that I have denoted by the cross symbol. So in actually we have 3 1 and 1 0, but what the predicted output by machine learning is giving me 4 ones. So that is the you can see. So it's not giving me the 100% accurate answer when I train my the simple data, simple OR function, when I train using logistic function of using built-in Python command, so this gives me this output. And then what I did, I tried my own algorithm. So what is benefit of writing own algorithm? There is a very much important to learn the algorithm, because you know, here when we write our own algorithm, the parameters, the changing of parameter in our hand. So here, you know, I have written here eta, the learning rate I have fixed here 0.5, and I have calculated these things and the cost function, and I have I have tried this algorithm for 10,000 times, and this is a updation of your theta. You can see that the error, and after the implementation, you can see the desired output is the same, 3 ones and 1 0, but still I am not getting the accurate 100% accurate answer by implementing a logistic regression, by like implementing the own algorithm, right? So not the built-in function, so still I am getting one wrong prediction. So that is the you can see observation of training of linear. So you have to like keep in your mind that I am training a linearly separable data or the linear model by logistic regression, but it's not giving me the 100% accurate answer, but it gives me the 75% accurate answer, right? Yeah, it's 75 because like one part is wrong, so that is the 75. Now what I tried further, this is a non-linear separable data or non-linear model XOR, and I have implemented by with the help of built-in function, and you see the actual output having 2 1 and 2 zeros, but in predicted output I am getting all same values 0. So you know, only 2 outputs are correct. So when out of 4 2 outputs are correct means what, we have only 50% accurate answer. So you know, non-linear separable data affects on the training. So not only the algorithm but data also very crucial. So you can see this I have tried again by the my algorithm uh, implemented by me. So you here also the desired output having the 2 1 and the two zeros, but calculated output you can see all zeros. So it gives me very poor accuracy by this model, this regression model. Okay, so now we come to the artificial neural network, and now we see the power of artificial neural networks. So again, I will try the same pattern, same data with the help of artificial neural network. But before implementing artificial neural network, you should draw a network. So the students or the people who are working for the machine learning algorithm using artificial neural network, they should first understand the network also. It's very important to draw a network first. So in our case, we have two input and one bias input. So this type of simple network is there, and in which only one neuron, okay, one layer and one neuron is required to train the artificial neural to train this AND function. So you can see the artificial neural network makes our task easier. So by one neuron we can train this. So here also I have trained, but here I tried my algorithm only that I have implemented in Python. I have not used any built-in function, and this is a training of AND function, logical function, and I have used the Heaviside activation function. I have set it this eta learning rate, and you see this is a updation of weight. So you can see the outputs are very interesting. So after 3 iteration, it gives me the correct output. So whatever this is my calculated output, this is my desired output, and they are same for all the patterns. So you can see it is gives me 100% accuracy when your data is linearly separable. So you have to again see what is your pattern, what is your data characteristics. So here our data linearly separable, and if your data is linearly separable, it can be trained with the help of artificial neural network with 100% accuracy and with the help of only one neuron. Okay, so here I have tried the another or logic function which is also linearly separable. So and here I have tried very interesting model, the gradient descent method I have tried, and the method is like eta, that is a learning rate, into this is your updation desired output minus calculated output, into this f prime means a derivative. So you know gradient descent method uses the derivative, and you know this is the result. The results are very interesting. So here I have calculated sum of square of error also. So you can see the error is very less, and the number of iteration is also very you can see interesting. So in 14,841 iteration, it gives me a very good accurate answer. So this 0.00 something is approximately 0. This 0.99 is approximately 1. So you can see it's give me a 99% accurate answer with the help of one neuron. And again you have to observe this data is linearly separable, right? So now let us see what happens when we have non-linearly separable patterns or the non-linear model. So this is my XOR function in which when one of the output is true, the one of the input is true, the output is true, otherwise it is false. So here when you have to implement, when you have to train your data which is not linearly separable or which is non-linear model, so you cannot now train using one neuron. So that is a difference between earlier example and this example. So here I have two input, but I have inputted one more layer. So you can see this is a two layer network. So I always advise my participants that those who try this non-linear pattern, if you implement logis ANN, so you please first draw the network. It is very good. You have to visualize your network first, then only you should implement in Python or any other tool. So let us see. This is my input layer. This is my hidden layer. In hidden layer, I have two neurons, and this is output layer in which one neuron. So this network has a total three neurons. So you know there are three neurons. So the mathematically this compute like this. So the computation is very simple. You have to apply the sigmoid function. Okay, and training in ANN means training using back propagation algorithm. So I am not going into the back propagation algorithm, but training the cost function can be uh, again mathematically represented by desired output minus calculated output for each data square. So that is the my cost function, and I have to minimize using a gradient descent method again that we have discussed in logistic regression part. So I'm not going into that. Yeah, so this is my training of non-linear separable data using ANN. So you know when we have non-linearly separable pattern or the non-linear model, we can train by the artificial neural network. But yeah, the algorithm is a back propagation algorithm, and here we have three neurons computation. So these are some input. So the learning rate I have decided. Here I have set it the pre-specified stopping criteria epsilon and sum of square of error. And yeah, so like here I am this algorithm I tried in Python. So this is just a computation of neurons, 3 neurons, and this is the error computation, and this is a hidden layer weight updation. So you will not understand just now, but the weights are updated. You can see here by some amount of delta change in the weight into the learning rate, and the new weight is calculated, and this is output is again very interesting. So you can see the calculated output is not exactly 0, but it is around 0. This output is 1, and this output is the actual output is 1. This is around 1. You can see that 0.98. So even I have applied artificial neural network algorithm to a non-linear model, non-linear separable data, which is a highly non-linear separable data, but it gives me the 98 point accurate answer with the help of 3 neuron computation. And this is the error and number of epochs. The number of cycle it's required 36,448. So these are the results of ANN algorithm. But so this is I have just concluded the things here, that if we have or and, they are linear models, and it can be trained with the logistic regression with 75 accuracy, that one answer was wrong. And if we try to train non-linear model, it gives me only 50% accuracy. So it means accuracy decreases when we go to linear to from linear to non-linear models. And this is a artificial neural network algorithm result. So it gives me 99 accuracy with only 1 neuron. So you can see it's a very nice, very powerful algorithm, artificial neural network. The XOR, which is a highly non-linear model and which can be trained 98% accuracy with the help of 3 neurons, right? So this is a overall conclusion. The training of linear model with logistic regression gives some accuracy, some reasonable accuracy. And when you try to train non-linear models, it gives not good accurate answer. And when you have linear models and you try to implement by single layer network, so it gives me very good accuracy. And when you have non-linear models, still it gives the good accuracy with the help of artificial neural network. So this is my overall conclusion, and thank you all for listening me, paying attention.
Thank you, ma'am, for sharing your valuable opinions, findings, and knowledge with us today. So now session is open for questions and answers. So participants, if you have any questions, you can ask.
You'll have to unmute them.
Participants can unmute themselves and ask questions.
And Dr. Salma, that was very good. Thank you so much. I know students will want this recording. I do see a couple of Binghamton University students on the call, maybe a few. So I apologize for saying you all sleep in. Clearly, you've proved me wrong. But I would love to share this. This is yes, your pedagogy, your instructional design is wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for appreciation.
And thanks to the Binghamton students for joining us today.
Yeah, any
free to
questions?
ask any questions.
Ma'am, I received one question that how can the concept of linear separability be used for classification?
Linear separability. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you gather your data So first thing you have to just draw the scatter plot. So you can see the behavior that your data, and there are some tools are also available by which you can check that it is linearly separable or not. Because here I have just illustrated very simple example in which I have 4 data points are there, so I can easily could draw the line, and I could say that this is a linearly separable. But if you have a large data, so again you have to use some tools that help us to determine your data is linearly uh, separable or not. And on the basis of that, you can choose your machine learning algorithm.
Okay, thank you so much, ma'am, for your answer. So participants, you
Professor
can
Dhaval
ask
has a
questions.
question.
Ma'am, if the layers are increased, then accuracy also increased, ma'am.
Pardon?
Ma'am, if the layers, ma'am, hidden layers are increased, the neurons are increased, then the accuracy, the output accuracy also increased, ma'am.
Not always. Actually, yeah, this is a very good question. You should not blindly increase the layers or the number of neurons in the layers, but you have to be very much take care, because increasing layer is actually increasing the complexity of the network. So it's very like, and it's very time consuming also, and it required high cost. So it's better you try to implement your network or your data with one neuron, and then you check the accuracy, then increase the you can increase the layer, you can increase the one hidden layer and some neurons, and again you have to implement. So this is a very nice analysis process, and I think that we should not increase layers so much. So I don't think any so significance on the accuracy. Like other factors also affect on the accuracy, like this learning rate. So though it's a very small value number, but it affect on the accuracy, and there may be some other parameters. Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Madam, if I may ask, you are from which institution?
I
Ma'am,
am from-
Sermata,
Huh? No, the person who asked the question.
sir, I am from NMS Sermata Vasan College, Madurai, Tamil Nadu, sir.
Acha, okay, okay. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Professor Dhaval has some question. Yes, Dhaval.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Salma madam, for a wonderful presentation. Really, my question is that if I'm dealing with a large amount of data, right? So what will be the best option for me to divide the data into small chunks and then apply this technique to find the patterns, or I should apply directly these algorithms to find the pattern when I'm dealing with a large amount of data? And my perspective is concerned with the accuracy.
Yeah. So I think if you have large amount of data, means you are dealing with a big data type of thing. So I think then you require more layers, and it will be actually a deep neural network. Even it is not a neural network, right? So it's a deep learning. So I think what you said is correct. You have to directly apply some algorithm, but yeah, with some convolution neural network or something, some algorithm. So I think that concept will not so much helpful.
All right. So I have to go for one step further. That is the deep neural network in place
Yeah.
of this simpler. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dhaval sir. Yogesh sir, you can ask your question.
Good evening, ma'am. Good evening, Salma, ma'am.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah,
evening.
thank you very much for this talk. And even it cleared a few of my concepts as well. I got better understanding of the topics. And with this, I have curiosity in mind. I may not be correct in my question, but can we say in general that linear models are used for classification and non-linear models are used for clustering purpose?
No, not like that.
Mhm.
Actually, linear models and non-linear models both can be used for classification. Like here I have given one example of XOR pattern, which is non-linearly separable, but still we can classify them. But the
Okay.
classification cannot be done very accurately with the help of the basic machine learning models like logistic regression. Then we have to go for some ANN models or some like some not a simple network but little bit advanced model. But classification can be done for both type of data, linear as well as non-linear.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Yogesh sir. Participants, you may ask your question.
May I ask a question?
Yes, sir, definitely.
Okay.
Yes.
Dr. Salma,
Yes, sir.
very nice presentation and very informative as well. My question is, how different would this be from heuristic algorithms?
Which algorithm? Heuristic. So, sir, I have not much idea about
Acha.
that
So those are self-learning, na? So,
self-learning. Okay.
uh,
So that might be like unsupervised learning algorithm.
acha, okay.
So in unsupervised learning, we don't have desired output. So
Ah,
like the training can done by itself, learning by
okay.
own experience.
Acha, I see. I see. Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Excuse me, madam.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, good evening to all. Thank you, madam. Thank you for your valuable information. My question is, what is the difference between supervised learning and unsupervised learning?
Okay, it's very simple. So when you have your data, you have to see your data is labeled or not. First thing, the labeled data can be considered as a supervised, and if target output is available. So if the specific output is available, then what you have to achieve, that is a supervised learning. If only input features are given, so we consider those data as a like if desired output is not available, so we don't compute the error, we don't compare that what output we are getting is correct or not, right? So that is the unsupervised learning. So there is no teacher available, you can say that. If there is a teacher to supervise you, that is a supervised learning. So if exact output is there, we can compare our calculated output with exact output. But if exact output is not available, that is the unsupervised learning.
Thank you, madam.
Thank you, Krishna Rao, for your question. May I know your institute name?
I am working in Avanti Institute of Engineering and Technology from Hyderabad.
Oh,
Okay. Okay, good to
thank
hear
you.
that. Thank you for joining us today.
Welcome, ma'am.
We have people from all over India as well as US also attending.
Yes, sir.
Very nice. Thank you for joining
That
us
is great.
also, Mr. Krishna Rao.
That is
Thank
wonderful.
you. Welcome, sir.
Any more questions, participants?
So my question, myself, Dr. D.B. Jani, my question to the madam is that how to determine any error that can be given out by the predicted result? I mean, error band with the unsupervised learning model.
Sir, in unsupervised learning, we cannot calculate error. Actually, we can train the network by the input patterns only. So if you want to compute error from predicted output and actual output, that is the supervised learning. And it can be calculated by the mathematical expression. Like you have to take a difference between calculated output and actual output, and you have to take a square of it to remove the negativity, and the sum of square, that will be the total error. But in supervised learning, not in unsupervised learning.
Then how to validate the output in that?
Yeah, so that can be done with the help of the test data. So when your training is complete, you can have some data that you have kept apart that not used in training, so that you have to again implement to the network, and you have to see your model is accurate or not. So that by that way you can validate your model. And there are some evaluation metrics are also there, like confusion metrics for root mean square error. So there are some algorithms available in Python also, by which you can validate and you can find the accuracy of your model.
Okay, thank you, madam, for answering my question.
Thank you so much, sir, for asking this question. Anyone else would like to ask?
Hello, I'm Darshana Jagiwala. It was very nice presentation, ma'am. And my question is that always we can use the Python as a platform to implement this machine learning algorithms, or any other platform we can use?
Yeah, this is also a good question. Like, there are many other tools are there, but when I have explained logistic regression or artificial neural network, it needs mathematics, right? So it means you have to implement some mathematics. So you need some software or some programming which can do some mathematical part. That is one thing. Other thing is about the data. So because if you have a large data or some good amount of data, where to store the data, where to do this all computation on the data. So for that also you need some good software. Like you can do this implementation, machine learning implementation in MATLAB also, mathematical software. And like Octave is also similar to MATLAB. Other programming like Java or C, C++, and but the Python is actually very much it is mainly developed for data science, data scientists. It deals with the large amount of data. Many rich libraries are available. Like many built-in functions are available for the beginner. So somebody is beginner in data science or machine learning, so he can at least start with some data and try to implement some machine algorithm, and he can be little bit confident that yeah, he can do something. So you can see the Python is like very great features that other may not have. In other programming you have to write, you have to start with your own algorithm, and here you have both the facility. Here you can deal with the small data as well as large data. You can deal with built-in function. So many rich libraries are available, modules are available. So that's way it's better. And other thing is it's open source. Python is a open source. Anyone can just go to the web, internet, go to download and install in the machine. While MATLAB is a paid software. So when you are to use, you have to buy a license for that. So you can see there are some drawbacks, some there for other, but one can use
Okay.
any. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. Thank you for the answer.
How to segment image using artificial neural network?
How to?
How to segment an image using artificial neural network?
Oh, this is a very like crucial question. It cannot be answered by in this way. You have to implement. You have
With
to
some
first.
algorithm? Like
Yeah, there may be some built-in algorithms available. Built-in function modules available specially developed for image processing. So those you can use, but you have to search for that. You have to explore for that. Actually, for this is a
okay.
specific problem. No? Yeah.
Thank you, Deepa, for asking this question. Ma'am, I would also like to ask one question to you. how artificial neural networks can be applied in future?
There means it can be in many ways. Like you have seen, ANS, what I have explained or what I have concluded in my talk only, that artificial neural network is a very powerful, even deal with this non-linear problem, highly non-linear problem, highly non-linear models, and it can be implemented for this supervised as well as unsupervised data, and it can be implemented for large data also, big data also. So you can see it is having the large application in future, and for the artificial intelligence also.
Okay, thank you so much, ma'am.
There are, in fact, incidentally, Professor Kriti, there are applications of neural networks even in the business world.
Yeah,
For
yeah.
Yes, sir.
example, stock
Like
market.
stock
Right?
prediction
You
has
can
great
prediction,
application. Yeah.
pattern recognition. Wherever there's a pattern of stock behavior, you can use networks, neural networks. They've been in use
Yes,
for a
sir.
long time, actually.
In some medical system also, like biological system, to diagnose the diseases, like in this cancer patient and many diseases, this artificial neural network is used, the deep learning techniques, like Yogesh sir is doing the same thing.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I know that. So anyone else would like to ask any question? We are open for questions.
I think we should conclude now.
Okay, sure, sir.
Yeah.
So thank you, everyone. So now I invite my colleague, Mr. Vaibhav Gandhi from Navrachna University to propose a vote of thanks.
Okay. Hello, ma'am. Hello, everyone. Hello. Am I audible, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Hello, everyone. So today it's a great honor for me to propose the vote of thanks to all who have helped us in making this NUVBU joint seminar series such a resounding success. I would like to express my gratitude to speaker Dr. Ume Salma M. Pirzada for sharing her experience and expertise in the training of linear and non-linear model in machine learning in very pragmatic way. I would like to convey my sincere gratitude to our Provost Dr. Nilay Yajnik for his presence and continuous motivation for this seminar series. I would like to convey my sincere gratitude to Michael Testani for their valuable presence in this seminar. I would like to thank Dr. Amrish Barujgar for his continuous support and guidance. I would like to thank our management for all kind of support for organizing this NUVBU joint seminar series. I would like to thank Dr. Dinesh Panchal and Professor Kriti Jaiswal for taking an initiative for making this seminar series a great success. Thank you so much, sir and ma'am. Last but not the least, I thank all the professors, faculty members, students, and industry experts who have made this seminar a grand success with their active participation. Once again, thank you all for your kind cooperation. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Vaibhav, sir. So as Gary Ryan Blair rightly said, what people remember is the beginning and the end. Therefore, start fast and finish strong. With this thought, I sincerely congratulate all the participants. We will connect in the future as well in the webinars in this series. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today.
Thank you, all of you. I have just one last announcement. The next webinar in this series of Navratna Binghamton University seminar series is scheduled on 14th May, and it is on the similar line. It is on digital transformation in electronic manufacturing industries through AI and machine learning, artificial intelligence and machine learning, and it will be delivered by Dr. Sang Won Yoon of Binghamton University. So those who have attended this particular webinar, it will be probably a more interesting webinar in this series. So do join us on 14th May, same time, 6 p.m. Indian Standard Time. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for this information. So guys, we will connect in future too in this series. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank
all.
you, everyone.
Yes, sir.
Have a
Yes,
wonderful
thank you.
evening.
Yeah.
We'll connect again.
Sure.
Yeah, thank you,
Professor Kriti,
Professor.
Amarish,
Yeah.
Provost.
Thank you, sir.